Hey everybody, it's Neil from Bizzaudio here, and I want to give you a quick rundown of the new web player, which is about to launch, which is very exciting. We've been working on it for months. I wanted to make sure that you'd got a video tutorial just showing an overview of the main features and differences to the old web player before we actually publish it. So without further ado, I'm going to open the sign-in page and sign in. This is the new color scheme. Just to make the web player more legible and easier to use, we've gone with a dark background with light type. That's just a design change. So let's get into the main navigation. We've got a side navigation here, as you can see, which you can close and open. And then on the home page, this is the home page accessed via this tab in the side navigation. You've effectively got three sections. First one are the main Bizzaudio playlists here, and they will be either retail, dining, salon beauty, health, or workout relax, depending on your business sector, which you will have set when you signed up. This is just a selection of the playlists available, the Bizzaudio retail playlist in this case. And by clicking on See All here, you can expose all of those playlists. The second channel is My Favorites. Simply, these are playlists but that you have favorited so that you can build up your own little channel of favorite playlists. And then the third section or channel are My Playlists, and these are playlists that you have created yourself. They're your custom playlists. You've effectively added the tracks to them, and so they are customized to your requirements. Now, a big change in the new player is that you can now, on the front end, rather than in your profile, change sector to explore playlists in other business sectors if you so wished. In the old web player, you'd have to go into the player menu and go into your profile to do it. You can now do that here, as you can see. So you just click on this arrow, reveals a drop down, and we can change to dining in this case. We've now switched over to dining. You may never want to do this, but if you do want to explore the other playlist to see if there's something that's of interest, that's the way to do it. One thing to point out here is if I go back to the home, if you view all of the dining playlists on the home page, the one thing you don't get the benefit of is the playlist filter. So if you're someone who uses the playlist filter, what you need to do is actually click on the dining here, or whichever sector you're in, and then, as you can see here, that reveals the filter. You can filter by three headings: energy, era, and vocal style, and you just click on the values that you want to narrow your selection down by. So if you want to have a look at upbeat and chill playlists, but you only want mixed and vocal, and you want them to be timeless or modern, then that's what you've done. And then you can clear that filter again. Let's go to Chill Beats Cafe. Now, a difference here compared to the old web player is that you now see all of the songs in that playlist, just the titles of them. You've still got number of songs, and you've got the number of hours that playlist lasts. You can add to your favorites, and you can delete from your favorites. And as soon as you click on play here, you will reveal turn the music down a little bit. You'll reveal the player controls, and these are pretty much as they were before. You can pause, you can click onto the next track, you can skip back. More importantly, you can shuffle, and you can also have continuous play. So if you wanted this playlist, when it played all of its 325 tracks, to play them again, because you don't want to have to go and change the playlist, you click on continuous play. Something to be aware of with continuous play in the player controls is that there are three settings. If it is not highlighted blue, then there is no continuous play. Playlist will get to the end and it will stop. If you click it once, it highlights blue and there's a dot below it, and that means continuous play for the playlist. That's generally what you're going to want. So it gets to the end of the playlist, and rather than there be silence, it starts again. If you click it a third time, a little 1 will appear in the center of the icon, and that means that the continuous play is restricted to the current track only. Now, there might be some scenarios if you do treatments in a beauty sort of environment or a spa where there's a track that works really well, but it's only 8 minutes long and you need 30 minutes and you just want it to repeat. I guess that's plausible. And in that case, you could use this feature. But generally speaking, it is the playlist continuous play you're going to want to trigger. And just to repeat, that is the one with the dot. If it has a 1, it means one track only. So avoid that if you want to avoid having one track playing on a loop, which is probably not good for business. Okay. Shuffle just randomizes the playback. Now, if you don't shuffle, you're going to get the playback, let's go back to here, in the order that these tracks sit in our database, but in alphabetical order. And whilst there's nothing wrong with that, I would argue that it's always best to shuffle by default, so that the next track that we get, click here, is a random track somewhere further down here. Could be anywhere. Same again. If we click on, it'll be another track. So you can scroll through playlists. This is the dining playlist. They just scroll through alphabetically. And if you want to, you can change the playlist. And you can continue on your way. You can also go back to the dining page in this case, and you can change playlists from here. If, however, you navigate away and you want to get back to where you started because you've forgotten what playlist you're on and you want to be back on that page for whatever reason, let's scroll away. This icon up here, the now playing icon, click on that. That's the way that you get back to the playlist that you're currently on. So why have we made all these tracks visible as opposed to the old web player where you could only see the one that was playing now? The main benefit of doing that is that if you have created a My Playlist and you think there are 2 or 3 or 4 sector playlists that are going to contain suitable tracks for your My Playlist, now you can come here and you can effectively audition those tracks. So let's just play a track. You can then click on this 3-button menu, and this is the track menu, and you can add it to the playlist. So if I click on add to playlist, it will reveal a pop-up of all of my playlists, and I can add this track to that playlist. So that's the main benefit of having all the tracks visible. So I think that's it on the sector playlists. Favorite is any playlist that we've added. So let's go back to dining. Let's add this playlist to favorites. You just click on the heart so that it's filled in red. And when you go back to favorites, you will find that that's there. So let's quickly cover new music. So new music is as it was before. It's not a page that you go to play music for your customers, because this is simply a list of all the music that we've added in the last 60 days. And this page exists primarily so that if you are against a user that has your own playlists, this is a destination that you can come to and review the new music track by track and just add any suitable tracks to your playlist. You do that again, click on the 3-dot menu, and you can add it to your playlist. You can also create a playlist from here. So in other words, I don't know, if you're reviewing these tracks and you hear a track and you think, oh yeah, I'd quite like a playlist sort of that's built around that style of music, you might want to click on here and create a playlist from scratch and start to add your tracks as you go along. So that's the new music. There is a filter here. We're going to make this more useful than it is currently, frankly. because what this filter is a genre filter, and it pulls in all of the genre information that sits on the tracks. Because music suppliers use their own genre categories, you've often got the same genre with 3 or 4 different names. And also you will find that there are genres in here, and you may find that there aren't actually any recently added tracks associated with that genre. So it could be more useful, and we're going to make it more useful by limiting and restricting the number of genres, and we will make them our own genres. So there'll be something more useful. Whereas at the moment, if you go pop rock, you will get one track. Well, actually, there's loads of pop tracks in here. I know that for a fact, but they're going to be sitting under another genre name. But anyway, hopefully you will find it useful to a degree. So for the moment, it's a question of working your way through these. And remember, you can use this bar here. You can click along to skip through a track and review it. So you'll pretty quickly get an idea of what that is and whether it's right for one of your My Playlists. Okay, so that's new music. And in covering that, we've also covered My Playlist to an extent. To create a new My Playlist, you click on this plus button here, pretty intuitive, and that will give you a pop-up. And as hopefully this explains, the text on here says, make a copy of a sector playlist and edit it to create your custom playlist, or create a My Playlist from scratch. So there's 2 things that you can do. If there is a playlist that you really like, but actually you just want to refine it, maybe take out 10-20% of the tracks because they're not quite right for you, you simply click on here, or you can search. You say, okay, I'm going to make a copy of Chill Salon Pop, and you click Create Copy. You can leave the title as it is, or you might want to call it My Version. If you want to put a different prescription, you could say, My Version of, and then you choose some artwork, good old swing artwork. If you've already got some tracks in mind and you've actually made a note of them, you can search in here. So if I'm going to search for a track called After Party, and I'm going to add that. And actually that will now create this playlist, and it will also include that track. And we find that there it is, My Version. The other way of making a playlist is to literally start from scratch. So you're not editing an existing playlist, you're creating your own thing. So Neil's Pop Faves, my favorite happy pop tunes. You might even want to put in here some information for your staff, like only for lunchtimes or whatever. Sunset Palms artwork in this case. And if you wanted to, you can start adding tracks. Let's say I've already got a list and Afternoon Love is a track that I want to add, and then I can create that playlist. And again, that also, here they are, Neil's Pop Faves. If I click on this, it takes me to that playlist, and I can just play it as a playlist. As I hover across here, revealed is a dustbin icon. So you can delete the playlist. I'm going to do that. And then there's also a little pencil, which is an edit. And that's if you want to change the title, change the artwork, change the description. That's how you would do that. But if you just want to add tracks, typically you're going to be listening to a playlist, and you will decide that you like the track, and you will go to the 3-dot menu, and you will into your playlist. Now, if you want to remove tracks from your playlist, you simply open it, and in the My Playlist track menu, there's an additional instruction, which is remove, and you can remove a track. There we go. Ask you to make sure, yes, remove that track, and you have removed that from your My Playlist. And then finally, this icon here now is the player menu. So you click on that. You can edit your profile. You can, if you're on a trial and you need to subscribe, there's a link to subscribe. You can contact us, a link to the general help page on the website, which we're going to be doing a lot of work around adding videos and tutorials over the next couple of weeks. Terms and conditions, and you can log out. But you can also now log out from here as well. We always advise you to log out, as you probably know. If you don't log out, there is a danger that the system will think you're using more than one device, and the system is designed to limit the number of devices you can use. And I think that's about it. I didn't mention, so I'll mention now that you can search the playlist. You can search in the usual way. Clearly, I'm demoing this just because it's easier on the desktop version, but the mobile version works in exactly the same way, all the same principles. Just beware that effectively you don't have this side navigation visible on the mobile version. The same applies to the tablet. What you've got is what we call a hamburger menu that looks a bit like this. It's 3 lines at the top. You click on that, and then it will, on the mobile, it will reveal the side menu. And again, then there's an X, and you can close that. Clearly, the layout is different. You can only see sort of a row of 2 playlists. You've got to scroll through the playlist. But all the other features are pretty much the same. We will probably do a separate mobile tutorial in the next week or so and just make that available on the YouTube channel. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the new player. I hope you regard it as an improvement. It's definitely faster. It's slicker. I think it's more legible. I think it's more intuitive. And I think it just makes playing the music in your venue easier. And that's ultimately what we want to achieve. But I'm sure you'll let me know if not. Thanks a lot.